Girlfriend's Guide to Life, a podcast that can help you live the life you've been given.
Welcome to a Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. I'm your host, Miesha. Today we are talking about moms. With Mother's Day just around the corner, I'm sure you guys are all out casting gift ideas for mom. But what I want most can't be conjured up, nor could Amazon deliver. That's for my mom to pay me a visit. I would like for her to sit at the kitchen table with me and catch up on all the things she missed. Now I know that's not gonna happen because she's been dead for nearly 36 years. However, I've had the amazing opportunity to be with some remarkable women who chose to be mothers to motherless daughters or kids. Today, we are talking about foster moms. In studio with me, I have Miesha Hoch. Not only is she a foster mom, but she's also an emancipated youth, and she's here to tell her story. Hi, Miesha. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm actually excited to have you in studio with me. You're my first guest in my new studio. Hence the new studio, guys. Check it out.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you for joining me. So I just want to have a conversation with you like we do normally, typically. We'll just have dialogue back and forth. But how I want to start this is that you said something to me the other day in our conversation. You said that your mother was a war bride, and that you were the product of that union. Right. Tell us what that is for those that may not know what war bride is.
Well, I was born in Rome, Italy.
Okay.
My father was an American serviceman, and my mother, was born in Rome, Italy also. She met my father, and right after the war, during the war she met him, and at one point she got pregnant. This is before they were married. And the reason for this, and this was something she had, I believe, planned, I'm called an anchor baby. And people hear about that nowadays. It's about people coming from different countries, having babies. If any of you have seen 90 Day Fiance,
yes,
we're talking about something like that.
Okay.
And so she was a war bride, I was a war baby, and her goal was to come to America and bring her entire family here. And I could get her here.
The quickest way.
The quickest way.
So do you feel like you were a priority to her because of that?
I didn't realize at that time what was going on, but I never felt like a priority because daily, when she wasn't working, it was going to attorneys' offices, going to see the consulate to see how she could bring her family here.
Okay.
And that was her goal. And she started my nonna, which is my grandmother, who I thought was my mother. When we were in Italy, I called my grandmother Mama, and I called my mother partially by her name. I couldn't say it. My mother's name was Giacinta, but I called her Gia.
Giacinta.
Yeah, but I called her Gia because I thought like she was a sister or an aunt or somebody.
Okay.
So when we got on the ship to come to the United States, I remember my mom saying, I was trying to get off the ship because I could see my grandmother, my nonna, who was waving and crying, and I didn't understand why I was with Gia,
Okay, while you were with, So you guys came, you fled Italy and came to America, and where did you guys go? Where did your boat dock?
Well, oh my gosh, through Ellis Island.
Ellis Island,
Through
New
Ellis
York.
Island.
Is that New York?
New York.
Okay.
And when we got here, we found out that my biological father was in jail. So we were homeless. We got here, and all of our possessions were stolen off the ship.
Really?
Yeah, no, we had nothing. No clothes, nothing. And so somehow we ended up in Ohio. I'm not sure how we got there. My mother didn't like to talk about it too much.
Okay.
We ended in Ohio where my biological father was in jail, and I know my mom saved a lot of money. I shouldn't say a lot of money. She saved money to get us here. And his family didn't want to have anything to do with us because they felt that she had tricked their son,
Yeah.
And but she ended up going to see court and try to get my dad out. And anyway, he ended up getting out a prison.
Okay.
And I don't know all the stuff in between, but I know we didn't have anything. And we ended up coming to Venice, California. We moved to Venice, I remember that. And
Venice, California.
Venice,
That's
California.
That's how you got here.
That's how we got here.
Okay.
And he wanted to live out here because it was warmer. And I remember him being with us shortly. I remember he would come to the restaurant where my mother worked and demand money from her tips, so he could drink because he was an alcoholic. And I would be sleeping in a booth because there's no babysitters, my mother didn't know anybody, and she wasn't gonna leave me with him. So I would be in a booth sleeping while she worked the night shift. And she worked in an Italian restaurant, and the guy felt sorry for her because she said, I'll wash dishes. She ended up first washing dishes, and then she learned enough English to do the menu.
Okay.
And people liked her because of the way she talked.
Okay, because she had her Italian accent.
Yeah, they thought she was cute.
And
you
she's
know?
pretty.
Yeah, and my mother, beautiful, she really was. But, I was never a priority to her, and I felt that way all my life, that her siblings were the priority, to bring them here. It was, and she kept saying, once they're here, everything's gonna be okay. But it never really was.
I forgot to mention, you guys, I have a secret to reveal, and that I am gonna reveal that 10 or 15 minutes into the show, halfway through, I'm gonna reveal something I forgot to let you guys know. So with that, is that the reason that you went into foster care?
I went into foster care. I was being physically abused. My mother, when she got angry, she would throw things. It could be a knife, it could be a piece of a statue if we had, she would throw it. And I just got tired of it, so I started running away. It's like, I just didn't want to be there. I didn't want to come home and get hit. I never knew what mood she was in. I do believe that my mother had maybe bipolar or something. And my stepdad, he was abusive also, and hitting and stuff, and I just got tired of it. So, but back then, what a parent could do, because I did run away, I got in trouble for that. But what a parent could do, and they can't do now, is a parent could say, I'm gonna take you to the jail and tell them that you've done such and such and such, and they will lock you up. And they do that, they did that. Or they could say, I'm gonna drop you off at juvenile hall. You can't do that now.
Right.
There's a law about that. It's called parents just dumping kids because they don't wanna put up with them. And I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I wasn't sexually active at all. I was the biggest prude. And a lot of the things I didn't learn at home was about bathing, about doing fingernails or hair. That was never taught to me because it wasn't. That's another story. But anyway, it just wasn't taught to me. So when my mother took me to the probation department, I guess is what it's called now, but she took me to see a social worker, and she told the social worker, my daughter ran away, she's misbehaving, I can't control her, and I think if we put her in juvenile hall. So I got put in juvenile hall. I was there 3.5 months.
Where were you placed?
I was placed in juvie, and then Los Padrinos. Los Padrinos.
Downtown.
But downtown. But what happened, and I was so happy, somebody saw it. I mean, you'd go to court once a month. And you go into court, and they would, and I didn't know I could have an attorney at that time. I didn't. Nobody told me that I had a voice, and I wish I would have known. But there was a wonderful judge, the same judge all the time, and he would say, "Are you ready to take her home?" No, we're not ready. And because I remember my mom saying, "Well, if you stay there till you're 18, her thing was, I'm going to be in a place till I was 18." Well, finally, my stepdad spoke up. He goes, "We're ready to take her home now." And the judge says, "Well, what if she does something you don't like?" He said, "We'll just put her right back here." And the judge took his gavel, slammed it down. He said, "We're dealing with a human life here."
Yes.
And it still gives me chills.
Yes.
Because
I'm sorry that you have to.
it's just that he saw what was going on,
Yeah.
that it wasn't, because he said, what if she just does something you don't like? Not if she's bad, not, we'll put her back. And that's when he said, detained will not be going home. And I kind of went, oh, because I didn't want to be in juvenile hall, but I didn't want to really go back home. And what happened, I was interviewed, they interviewed you in juvenile hall.
Okay.
A Mrs. Bloom came from Rosemary Cottage in Pasadena.
Awesome, okay.
I ended up living with 19 girls, and it was wonderful. There was no more hitting, there was no more, there was no more yelling. There was none of the stuff that happened at home that was just like, I never knew what was gonna happen when I walked through the door. I remember going to school with a black eye, and the teacher saw
When you were at home?
when I was at home, and nobody said anything.
Mm.
If they, now you see things like that, you need to do something and report it.
Mm.
But I ended up in Rosemary Cottage, and Mr. Cohen, who was the director at that time, was like a father to us.
Okay.
So we had this male image, and he was a wonderful man, he really was. He made so many wonderful changes at the cottage. But, and the house mothers, there was Mother Hall, Mother Washburn, we called them Mother,
Okay. Was it Catholic?
Pardon?
Was it Catholic?
No, they were just, that's what we called them, Mother,
Okay.
We called them a lot of other things that we weren't supposed to do
I'm
either.
sure I did.
But they couldn't hug us, they couldn't, console us, as girls, we would come home, a boy would break up with us, or we'd get a bad grade, and we'd cry, and they would just say, well, you can do better next time, or don't let it bother you, so you didn't get that nurturing,
I can relate to that 100%. Now, so I like to hear that your foster care experience was delightful. I'm gonna use that as a word, because there's so many horror stories with young adults, young kids that are being abused in foster homes.
That's true.
But to see that you actually came out better.
I
is
feel I
remarkable.
came out better. And a lot of the rules they had at Rosemary Cottage, I brought home when I had children. I used
Okay.
from study hall, just different little things that worked. I thought, this works, I could use this with my kids. So I got my parenting skills from the cottage. Yeah.
So I know this because I am a friend of yours. Years ago, you made a decision
Yes, I
to become a foster mom.
Yes, I did.
You opened your home to a dozen of at-risk youth.
I did.
What compelled you to becoming a foster parent?
I knew I wanted to be a foster parent. Once I got married, I spoke to my husband, John, about it. And he said, are you sure you really want to do that? And I said, yes. And we started with the little kids, and that was wonderful. But my passion has always been with young girls because I know what I went through. We were determined we were going to hug them, we were going to kiss them, we were going to do all the things they told us we really shouldn't do. But we felt, at least I felt, that you come home, you're upset, you need somebody to talk to sometime. A boy breaks your heart, or you break a boy's heart,
Right.
And that was part of what I believed in, and I thought was important. And luckily, my husband, who's a wonderful man, agreed. So girls were my passion.
That's awesome. So how can you say the experience has been for you? I'm sure there's been some tears, there's been some challenges, but I also suspect, and I know, that those times outweighed any of those adversities that you dealt with.
Absolutely.
Because you brought so many, you brought happiness out of so many children, right?
I believe, I have relationships with young women that they're in their 40s now, women that, they're lovely women that have lived with us. They still call me mom. I don't see them very often, but they're on Facebook.
Yeah.
They make comments, they have children. I had a young lady that came back into my life. She found me on Facebook, And she said, you probably don't remember me. And I remembered her.
You
I did. And then I said, I remember you. And she said, I've been looking for you, and I want to say I'm sorry.
Oh.
I said, honey,
That's
you were a teenager. That's okay. Not to worry. Not to
So
worry.
we're halfway into the show. Before I finish asking you these questions, before I reveal our secret, there's one more question that I have. So if there is somebody watching Girlfriend's Guide to Life right now, and they're probably contemplating being a foster parent. Should I do it? Should I not?
Do it.
What would you say to them? Tell them. Look them in the camera and talk to
Do
them.
it. You will get more out of it than you think, and you will be giving to that child or teenager. And they really need homes for teenagers. And yes, teenagers can be difficult. Teenagers can be wonderful. But when I look back, and I've had some good experiences and some negative experiences, the good outweighs the bad.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have these young ladies come back into my life and contact me, it's like, the joy that comes out of it, you know? But they need love, they need attention, they need someone to be there and listen. And it's gonna be difficult times too. They will be difficult, but no more than any other child. At least that's how I feel. You know, there are some that have some severe problems that maybe shouldn't be in a home setting, but for the most part, all they need is home and love.
Yes, you hear that? So if you are considering being a foster mom, someday I will as well. Right now my foster baby is this show, so I don't have the time to space, but I do want to. So thank you for that. Now with the surprise, guys. So this has been on my heart for so long. So as you guys know, you heard Miss Paola's story. But Paola is not just a foster mom or any foster mom. She actually was my foster mom. I had the pleasure of living with her and her beautiful family for 3 years. She was my cheerleading coach, and I too had run away from home. I had run away from my previous home, and because I was her exact age. Is so crazy to even hear your story. I was her age. I was 15. Here in LA, and there is not many homes, and you can vouch for this, that are willing to take a troubled youth, especially that old, at that age. And Miss Hoch was what we call her on the cheer squad. I call her Mom. What Mom decided to do was to open her home up to me, and I came to live with her. So tell them about that experience.
We had been a foster parent for years, and then we decided to stop. It was like, okay, now we need to just kind of rest a little bit. And Miesha came to the squad, and she would get so frustrated. And I'm watching her, and I'm tearing up, I'm sorry. I'm watching her, and I see me. I see this 15-year-old girl where, you know, I can't do it. And I remember saying, you can do it, you're gonna be fine, just hang in there. And I remember you came to me and you said, she's not gonna buy my uniform, your foster mother. And I said, you know what, don't worry about it. We'll figure something out. Don't worry. And she goes, but no. I said, no, don't worry about it. You know. And I remember you came home, we brought you home one night for dinner. And I said, we're gonna call your foster mother. We're gonna let her know you're coming home with us for, you know, and she okayed that, but reluctantly. And that's when a lot of things came out about how you were being treated there. And I don't usually butt into other foster homes, but you just were treated I felt very unfairly. And I felt that just made the rage more in you. And you finally asked, you said, I wish I could live with you. And I said, let's see what we can do about that. I'm sorry. And we got in touch with her social worker and talked to him, and I said, I don't have a license now, but I've been licensed. And I said, I spoke to my husband, we're willing to get a license. And they placed her with us even though we didn't have a license at that time because we previously had, and they were gonna rush it through. And when she came, I remember when she came, I said, okay, one of the rules, we're not gonna yell and scream.
Right.
You remember that?
Oh,
I said,
absolutely.
we talk here.
I do remember that.
But
I remember
you
that.
were not what, I'm sorry, my nose, because I'm crying. You were not a troubled child. You had trouble, but you were not a bad child. You never swore at me, because I had people that swore at me. You never swore at me. You got angry, and you would go in the room, and I would just leave you alone for a while. And then I remember knocking on your door, and you weren't used to that, just knocking on the door.
No.
I
Being treated like a human? No, not until I came to your house. I had never been treated the way you treated, the way you talked to me, the way you communicated, the way you loved. I never experienced unconditional love before. I never experienced somebody just walking up to me, hugging me, or telling me that I'm pretty, or telling me that you can do it. I'd never experienced that.
Every morning, we had a rule in our house. You got up and you said good morning to everybody.
Yes.
Just good morning, start the day out. Sometimes it'd be, morning. You know. But it got to the point, it was good morning. And the smile you see here is the smile we got. And
you made me happy. I can definitely say that me living at your home with you guys was a culture shock too, because if you notice, I'm a black woman and they're an Italian American family, and they did things totally different than we did. You know, there was culturally, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
like how to make chicken.
Fried chicken. That's another story. I'm a cook, and they cooked fried chicken, and I was like, what is this? But anyways.
It didn't pop.
Right, we put it in the grease.
Right.
But the experience was a good experience. You saved my life. I believe that, I know without a shadow of a doubt, had you not been my guardian angel, I still truly believe that God had made you at this time and space to be here to help me get through my things, because you came at a place in my life when I was like suicidal. I was like, my mom's dead, my siblings are gone, I have nothing else to live for. And you came and you gave me life.
You gave me so much too, Miesha. Miesha, you opened up with us. You were loving. You allowed. At first, you were stiff when I would hug you, and I go, "Come on, you can hug me back. It's okay." And every opportunity, I remember, because we have 3 adopted children, and one came from being a foster. 2 of them were foster children. We were able to adopt. But you came into our life and you gave us a lot of love, and just seeing that smile on your face, this smile, you would smile like that, and that was it for
I was
me.
happy.
That was it. I said, she's smiling today. This is a good sign.
Yes, you still continue to make me smile. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. This is just, I have a small token. This is just a very small token of my love. Happy Mother's Day, Mama. I love you so much.
I love you more. We always tell each other that. I love you more.
Yes, I love you more. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being wonderful. Thank you for opening your home. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for teaching me everything that I needed to know about education, going to college, keeping my grades up, all those attributes that helped me today, that show me who I am today.
Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being in our lives. You mean the world to us. And you are my daughter.
Thank you. And you're my mom. So before we go, guys, I have to talk to my emancipated youth. As I say, you hear that good do come out of emancipation. It's the choice that you make. You have to make the choice. You have to decide that I'm gonna not allow my adversities that happened to me, because those things were placed on you. You didn't do those things. It's not your fault. You make the decision that those things happened to me and I'm moving on. Use them as stepping stones to get the life that you deserve to live. So I'm here to tell you, if you need anything, I'm here. Look me up, Miesha, Girlfriend's Guide to Life. I'm here. And without further ado, I want to say thank you to my audience for tuning in week after week, joining in on the conversations. I love you. And if you need to find us, we are launching our very own channel on YouTube, Girlfriend's Guide to Life. On Facebook, Girlfriend's Guide to Life. And on Instagram, it's Girlfriend's Guide to Life, but life is spelled L-Y-F-E. I love you. Can't wait to see you again. And thanks for joining me. Have a good one.